before I touch base on this most def making comments about Drake, we're gonna dive deep into this. Oh my god, fellas. I've been fiending to get deep into this. First of all, we gotta remember where Drake came from. The camp he came out of. And I seen this little doc right here, and it kind of reminded me of the whole Jay Dilla Common from like I would say the early 2000s and the 90s. I don't really know too much about that era before then, but I know me personally, I like Kanye West after I learned about Jay Dilla. That's how I kind of like got molded into the whole Kanye West thing. It wasn't off of college dropout or late registration. It was really off that like kind of Jay Dilla kind of tree where Dave Chappelle even hosted like an open block party. When I saw Kanye West with Dave Chappelle, that was like the stamp of approval. It was like, okay, I know Dave Chappelle fuck with like that sort of, I would say guys coming off that tree. It was like real hip hop. So I saw Dave standing next to Kanye. I'm like, oh, Kanye got to be one of those types of dudes too. But here's a quick documentary right here. Just this is a dope channel, Digging the Crates.
In the late 90s, Questlove helped found a collective of musicians and artists, including D'Angelo, James Poyser, Jay Dilla, Erykah Badu, Bilal, and others like Q-Tip, Talib Kweli, and Pino Palladino. They were dubbed somewhat accidentally the Soulquarians, and this collection of albums is some of the best music ever recorded, and it's influenced so much music in completely different genres since. Today I'm talking all about the Soulquarians, D'Angelo, Erykah Badu, Common, Jay Dilla, The Roots, etc.
Now, Drake is off this same tree. Even though Kanye was a few years ahead of Drake, Drake is off this same tree. Matter of fact, I'm gonna actually prove it to you guys right here. Let me mute them instrumentals. I'm gonna show you right here. Now, Drake even did a song after his first album dropped. And this track came out with I believe Fonte from Little Brother. It's called My New, aka My New Shit. But Drake was spitting on this. He was spitting. I'm gonna play a little snippet. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted. Remember, he's doing a song with Little Brother. I mean, this is like boom bat. I don't want to say it's boom bat, but it's off that like kind of, what's his name? Q-Tip. It's off that Q-Tip tree, and that whole movement, the Soulquarians, that whole movement is off of that like Q-Tip and Tribe Called Quest tree. It got like revolutionized with more soul in it. Erykah Badu, but Drake was spitting, man. Drake used to spit.
Quest, but when you call too much, then I call less. You would always complain about my small text, but what you call conversation, I call stress. And that put a barrier between both of our carriers, and I would be like, I ain't getting service in your area.
Okay, I can't play all of it, but he was getting to his bag, and then he even dropped tracks with KOS, man. Like this guy used to really come off that like Jay Dilla, Common, D'Angelo, Erykah Badu type of tree.
Like I left the water on, I'll run this bitch if anybody asks. Ain't much change since high school, niggas.
Remember, Drake already dropped his mixtape. He's already kind of getting commercialized, and he's still yet dropping these type of tracks.
They'll be in and out of class, S-Class, or the brand new CL5 on them haters. Black paint,
ooh, that boy flowing.
Color as the logo for the Raiders. I just said that cause I'm out in California in the studio with Taz. You should give us credit, niggas killing people. We could all be doing that instead.
All right. And he even did a part 2. It's called Faith Part 2 with KOS. All these guys are like backpack rappers. Oh, that's what they used to call them, but they're off that, once again, that Jay Dilla tree.
Will be here when I ain't rich. I swear, I know they are in the boat I row. Everybody in it got a paddle, and motherfucker won't let go. I done made $100,000 a season. I was on that show.
That's kind of crazy. You hear Drake back then versus now, it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. But I'm gonna go to the most def comments. But before I do that, once again, I actually want to go to Math Hoffer. He actually has a guy on his show. This guy does I believe he used to work for the Soul no, not the Soul. I'm tweaking. The Source magazine. He used to work for the Source magazine. He talked about how he used to vouch for the backpacker guys. Well, I gotta stop saying the backpacker guys. I would say the guys off this tree. It was sort of like a movement along with Mos Def, Black Thought. He used to vouch for them. So they did 2 different magazine covers. He kind of alludes how, like, in a way, even though everyone knew that was the real music, it was such a niche. And he has, like, kind of like I want to say he has a first-hand experience from a sales standpoint for working for a company that niche is very small. I'm about to play for you guys right now.
My point is, Kanye, being who he was running with, being who he was around, was also a producer magazine.
Yes.
And he made beats for some of the biggest lifestyle
That's why I
rappers
say
out.
I think he would have been the bridge because
He's a bridge, but he can't be the bridge if you sign to the biggest rapper.
Right.
The nigga who says truthfully, I want to rhyme like Common Sense, but I sold 5 mil. I ain't rhyme like Common Sense.
And that's in a way Drake right now. Drake, he took the money. He could spit like Mos and others. And I think that's where Mos and other people are kind of like disappointed that he went like the commercial route. He kind of dumbed himself down in order to make sales, but that's part of the game. But right here, this guy from the Source, I forgot his name, but he's gonna prove to you like that whole you're a real rapper spitting bars is such a niche audience and it doesn't sell. He's gonna prove it to you right here. Remember, he used to work for the Source magazine.
If Diddy had gone and signed Mos Def, if Diddy had gone and signed, if they'd have treated that element the same way they treated the Harlem,
Yes.
okay, well,
That makes more sense.
He got this Kanye dude popping. We got to get one of these niggas. Who else is out here?
Nobody took Pharoah.
We got to get
when he had the Nate Dogg record.
They didn't treat it like
that. He said Pharoah Monch. I forgot he was part of that crew. And that guy has some hits. Like all these guys, like you wonder, like none of them were really guys who made sales or impact in the whole, I would say, music industry commercially as a whole. They didn't really have any impact. But once again, this guy's about to prove like it's such a niche audience.
They treated Kanye like a wonder.
Facts, exactly.
They just let him rock.
They only wanted Kanye.
They did have a label.
Because he could bring beats with them.
They did have a label that was hot.
Get by remix.
And right here, they're arguing of why some people at the record labels thought Kanye was a one-off. They didn't want to dive deep into that whole kind of Questlove or type of Common type bag. They didn't want to dive deep into those rappers and build up another one. They just knew it was such a niche.
But he brought beats with
Ruckus was hot like that.
That is produced by Kanye.
But bro, you
did not come close.
Ruckus. Pharoah Monch.
You talking to the wrong dude.
And Pharoah Monch had a big record deal too.
I was at the Source when we did the competition. When the competition happened, I was the only backpacker in the office running around screaming about y'all showing all this love to the lifestyle.
That's where they thrived at on the Source albums that they used to put out.
We ended up doing a cover. They ended up doing a cover. And I don't know.
He's gonna get into his bag right here about it.
I won't say this was to spite me specifically, but I think I made so much noise they felt like maybe this is something we need to address. Remember how the Source used to do 2 covers?
Yes.
They did one cover mainstream. They did another cover underground. The mainstream cover was Q-Tip. He had Vibrant Thing out at the time.
He might be the big dog backpack rapper. I ain't gonna lie. Now I'm thinking about it. That's Q-Tip. He might be the big. He might be
super record. And then the other cover was Mos Def, Black Thought, and Pharoah Monch.
Yeah, I remember that cover.
Simon Says, Mrs. Fat Booty, and The Roots at the same time.
Yeah.
Bro, that cover got destroyed. Destroyed. It was almost 3-1. 3 motherfuckers would buy the Q-Tip cover and completely fucking abandon. Maybe one dude might pick up the other thing. That was the tipping point right there. I had to shut the fuck up in the office for the rest of the year. I couldn't say shit.
Wow.
You think Q-Tip was an exception because of Tribe and their contribution already?
Yeah.
Now right there, that's crazy because he named 3 big records. Mos Def, Miss Fat Booty. Once again, I was a real youngin' at the time. I don't really know anything about these records, but I still hear them to today. These are like really big records, but for that backpacker movement at the time, they had a lot of momentum. And for Q-Tip to still outsell them. So that guy had proof working for I wouldn't say working for the labels, but working for a huge magazine that was part of the culture that had to make sales. They had to make sales to justify their ads. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the Mos Def comments in this interview. Yo, shout out to the young lady that did the interview. She killed it right here. I'm gonna shout her out here. You guys check out her channel, The Cutting Room Floor. I mean, this is huge to even get Mos to come out and say this.
Like, is Drake hip hop? I know.
Damn, that
Drake
Because
is
we're here
pop.
for truth. We're here for
Drake
truth.
is pop to me.
Right, that's fair. In the sense that it's charting like pop music, popular music.
It's charting because Drake is the algorithm of the music industry. That's the craziest part. He came up when the streaming services were just getting built. So he's almost built into their system, similar to the way Joe Rogan is built into Spotify. He doesn't even have a RSS feed like other podcasts do, those links. He's straight up built into their system. I mean, you could be on a flight and try to listen to his podcast. I don't even think you could download it. You have to hear it with the ads. It has to be tracked. He's built into their system the same way Drake is. When Drake has a release, he's on everyone's feed. Hey, listen to Drake, da 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 da. Like, people not even fans of hip hop, they get the same ads on their algorithms, whether they're on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, wherever. Drake is built in. That's one thing a lot of people overlook. It's like, yo, he came up at the perfect time. Even Lil Wayne didn't get that grace of being built into the streaming system.
I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song. So it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping.
Commercial music.
Or as
Commercial music, yeah.
shopping with an edge in certain instances. Or
Fair. I like Drake's music, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
of course, I mean,
It's
I get
commercial, entertaining, fun, good,
It's
formulaic music that is
it's likable.
likable music. Yeah.
Remember how we heard him earlier? We heard Drake spitting. He was flowing. He was in his flow. But that's not what we're getting today. It's crazy just listening back to what I played earlier. It sounds like a complete different person. Like, he was flowing. What he's doing now, I don't want to say he's still not in his bag with the rhymes, but it's really lazy. It's almost like he's Stephen Curry just doing layups all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could take the 3-point shots, he could do crazy crossovers, but he's just settling for just like layups. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is too easy. It's too easy for Drake, and I feel like a guy like Mos Def, who's multi-layered, especially with the bars, man, he could just see right through it.
It's likable.
But is it? I'm gonna leave you alone. We're gonna move on.
Woo! So many products. So
many SKUs.
So many SKUs. Look.
And so many SKUs in that music video he did for Laugh Now, Cry Later. That whole thing was a Nike ad. I mean, just wouldn't have you seen a rapper drop a whole music video that was straight up an ad. But once again, he's built into the system of the overall music industry. I don't fault him either, because before he got his current deal, he was signed to like 5 people. So all those tours and radio hits throughout the years, he may have a very small ownership in that previous work. So he's just about to get out a bunch of like B-side records that are not even that good and just kind of flood the market, because maybe he has like a 10 album deal. So he's trying to get through that.
Look at all these SKUs. Oh, so many products.
So much merchandising, so many barcodes.
I love this mall. Look at this place. I mean, look at this place. They have everything. Everything's here. They have everything here. Ah, this is great. This is a new Drake. You hear it? It's great. Okay. What happens when this thing collapses?
This dude's gonna get paid. Regardless, he's built in. He don't get paid regardless, and he's out. I mean, when the thing collapses, I mean, does he mean the genre overall? Because yeah, the genre right now is fully getting pimped out. It's fully getting pimped out. Maybe Most means it that way, but Most is talking a lot of code, man. But I don't fault Drake for going commercial. I just don't see the other guys off that Jay Dilla tree just eating as much as him. But there is a graceful way of doing it. It's just, I don't know. It's been a lot of Drake noise. It's been a lot of Drake noise, man, ever since he dropped that last album. Between Joe Budden, this Mos Def incident, and just people critiquing the album, man. Like, this is the noise is kind of getting loud, man. They're throwing stones at the glass house right now. And the kid with the Midas touch, he has to react.
This is the thing that we're talking about. It's like nobody wants to talk about. It's like, what happens when the columns start buckling? Are we not in some early stage of that at this present hour? Are we seeing like the collapse of the empire? Buying and selling. Where's the message that I can use?
Right.
You know, what's in it for your audience apart from being like banging the pom-poms?
But for sure, this is definitely unprecedented. What Drake actually is, if you take a step back and really look at it. We all know they say, hey, every artist, the Spotify payout is like point something of a penny, which it doesn't really add up. But at the same time, best believe Drake does not have that deal. He has a fully guaranteed deal. I don't know if he's getting back end payment directly from Spotify as far as ownership shares, or just they're gonna just give him a one-time fee for at least not going independent. Because had he took that route, he could have really destroyed the whole music industry. He could have put them really on their heads.